Okay, so that right there kind of blew me away and it hit me. Yeah, throw some hearts in that for Mika. You never know. You never know what the person sitting right next to you is going through. I personally did not want to interject myself into the interview because that wasn't my hour to explain. However, I am actually a stage 4. I'm currently dealing with something right now, and I am in stage 4. And it is important. It is important to, just like you said, you have it, but don't you let it have you. It is important to always focus on the positive. How do you push forward? How do you push forward? We're going to go through stuff. We got at our jobs, we go through mess in our homes. Sometimes we go through mess within our friends, within our families. We go through mess, bills to be paid. We go through stuff, but we can't let these outside elements affect us, because the one thing we can control is our perception, is our mind, and that's how we move through it. It means a lot to me. Like I said, this wasn't about a me show, so that's why I did not present it out there. But I 100% understand Mika in this situation. I understand 100% how we need to watch what we eat, because what we eat is actually affecting our body. What we eat is actually helping us or binding us. Medication was another thing that Mika said. What up, Mika? Mika, you have no idea how much. Thank you for blessing me. Medication was another thing that we briefly talked about, but I wanted to say something real quick. They're called medical practitioners for a reason. When a doctor gives you a prescription and you go to the pharmacy to fill it, that pamphlet, read it, and then go and do your research, like Mika said. Do your research so that way you understand what you're putting in your body, because they too are practicing medicine. So understand that what they're giving you may be helping one thing, but now it's breaking down something else. But you have to do your research, and it is a big trillion gajillion dollar business. But they don't go home thinking about us at night. You do. So it's up to you to do the research. Your body tells you. Your body tells you when something is wrong. And if you are having a feeling in your body, I didn't know that I was having an issue, and I collapsed on the floor. Collapsed on the floor, ended up in the hospital, had to have emergency surgery. Did not know. Organs removed. Organs removed because I did not know, because I did not listen to my body telling me to go check it out. Go check out your body. Go to your doctors. Research. Go to an expert with a medical degree. Research. Ooh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go so far, because we're actually going to keep moving forward into health right now. So I'm excited about that, because it is important to be mindful of the body and keep us healthy inside and out. So moving forward into this evening, oh gosh, I just love you guys. Ooh, I love everybody here. Everybody here. Thank you. Love, 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 love. I love the opportunity to explore and to delve in. So what we're going to do next is really go into health. We're going to speak to herbalist, as well as doula and emotional wellness practitioner. And we are going to talk about more about how we can take better care of our health inside and out. Courtney, you are my heart, my love. I love you. and we are moving forward in tonight. Let me see. Did I do it? Chad, y'all got me so excited. I'm trying not to cry. But it's a good thing. Hello, Natasha. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
I think
Oh my! Oh, I just got so excited about the last guest because health
I'm
is
here for
such.
it. I was moved, okay? So I was loving it. I was like, "Come on." I was loving it as a testimony for real. So
Hmm. This is so important because we don't speak about how we can get healthy. It's almost like a taboo to really talk about how do we keep ourselves together. So before I even dive in, please, if you would introduce yourself and your business to the audience here.
okay, thank you. My name's Natasha Blanchard now. I didn't change it over, so it's no longer Battles Blanchard. And I am an herbalist, women's health specifically, located here in Seattle, Washington. And I'm also a doula, been practicing since 2013. And I do birth support and postpartum support. And I'm also an emotional wellness facilitator. So um, those things go hand in hand, if you ask me. We need to focus on our health. We need to focus on our mental, and we need to focus on our emotional. And we delve into the natural aspects that were given to us from God from jump, right? I really I do that with my doula practice, but I also have VRenewed Yoni Health, which is a second business that I have. But they're very closely related because I do belly binding for moms, African style belly binding. And I also do postpartum or perinatal steaming after baby's born. I do placenta encapsulation. I do herbal consultations. I do a little bit of everything, but everything boils back down to the roots. So
Okay, so this is interesting to me because when it comes to this aspect, what do you think is the biggest misconception for women when it comes to finding a doula, when it comes to having that natural birth? In
it's funny you say that because it's a question that I have actually up on my site. People get it confused. Doulas and midwives are two different things. So I am not a midwife. I am
mm,
medical practicing student or practitioner in that aspect. I'm an advocate. Okay, so I give education to my clients. I give emotional support to my clients. I make sure that they are mentally, emotionally, and spiritually connected while they're on their journey through their birth and afterwards. Because us moms, we get forgot about. Once baby's born, it's like, okay, you did your birth, you did your labor, and all that. We're gonna move on,
mhm,
and that's one of the reasons why I launched Birthmarks Renewed on my own instead of practicing under other people. And I also launched VRenewed Yoni Health is because I went through my own traumas with my second daughter, or my second child rather, who's my daughter. I went through postpartum depression psychosis, which is a little bit step above postpartum depression, and where I had this I'm not myself. It's not just postpartum and you're depressed. It's I literally thought I was outside of myself. I was slapping myself. I couldn't feel it. It was a terrible, terrible feeling. And I want moms to be much more aware. Yes, the doula, but I didn't have the information or the knowledge to figure out exactly why I was triggered. And that's why I launched that section. But it's really important to address the impacts or the imprints we have that make huge impacts on our life later on. So I had to dig deep, and it took a long time for me to connect with my daughter and to connect with myself, and my family members. So I launched that because I wanted them to be more supported. I wanted them to be emotionally supported. I wanted them to have an outlet that was safe, and it was caring, and it was loved. And it was a lot. It was a lot. But the misconception, like I said before I get off track, is a doula and a midwife are two totally different things. We're advocates for birth. Okay, we don't catch the baby. Where we would like to, but we are there to support mom. Sing, praying with them, however they feel supported is what we do. Cooking, giving them massages while they're in labor, giving
Mm.
techniques to actually do positions in labor, whether it's virtual support, it's handouts, it's connecting them with classes in their area, resources. I work with low income moms, so I help them with diapers, wipes, car seats, lactation consulting, and supplies because they don't think it's out there because they think that midwives and doulas are the same thing, but we're
Mhm.
and we have a lot of resources out there for low income families, especially in um, Black communities. You know,
Mhm.
that's where we reach our young moms who just don't have the information. So we
Right.
have resources for them. So we give them pamphlets, we give seminars, and we connect with them all the way up until baby's 2 years old.
Oh, that's a good time. So
Yeah.
that's a really good amount of time because one thing about the whole maternity process, which I don't think we give enough credit, that
Mhm.
a human is actually bringing life into this world. It takes a lot for someone to
Mhm.
actually process that human life that is
Right.
now coming from another human life. I think we take it for granted. I think we don't honor those who have
Mm.
to
Yeah.
bear the pain, those honor those who were gifted to actually endure and actually bring forth life. And I always thought it was so odd how we kind of dismiss that a woman just giving birth is expected to just get up, go back to work, go and handle and breastfeed and just go on as if life like as is. And so to have that kind of support, I think is super necessary because it's a lot to go through physically. It is a lot to go through mentally. And a lot of people, they don't know how to cope with that because
Right.
they've never experienced it. So I love the fact that you offer services from, you know, I guess at what point do they first find a doula in their process?
I get clients because I work with low income moms. I can get them 2 days before they give birth. You know, I can get them right before they give birth. But
Mhm.
usually, you want to seek out somebody that you connect with, somebody who's on the same page as you, somebody who resonates with you, somebody you can trust in your home. So
Mhm.
you just want to start looking at about 6 to 9 months before you actually start becoming a parent if you can, right? So conception. So you want to do all your work, right? Just like you were saying before, go
Mhm.
to the doctor and make sure that that's who needs to treat you, right? That's the
Mhm.
same thing you're looking for a doula because that's somebody who is actually going to be there more than your midwife or more than your OBGYN.
Wow.
They're going to be there with you for
Mhm.
every step. I get calls from moms asking about baby's rash on their face, right? And what resources could I send them to? And we become a friend. So you really want to look for somebody who you connect with.
Mhm.
If you don't have that 6 to 9 months, I say at least once you start or once you know you're pregnant, go
Mhm.
out and go look for a doula. Don't wait until the last minute. Get somebody who's going to be with you from the beginning all the way into the end because this is a relationship that we're building. It's built on trust and it's built on communication and it's built on community. You know, in our community, that's one thing that we're lacking is we don't have that trust with one another
Mhm.
and building that rapport, you know, and so that is really important. I would prefer my clients to reach out to me as soon as possible so we can touch all bases, you know. I can go on virtual visits to the doctor with you. So if there's any questions that you feel that you didn't get answered in the
Mhm.
last one, or you feel like you don't know how to reiterate that to your provider, that's something that I can do for you, you know? And then it creates a really good relationship, especially if the mom has a partner. The partner doesn't feel alone when they have that other person that mom can lean on, right? Sometimes the partner gets overwhelmed too, and they lose themselves emotionally, physically, mentally. So we don't want to forget about the partners, you know. We don't want to forget about whoever's there to support mom at the time. even though we focus on mom, we focus on them too. So
Mhm.
6 to 9 months before you want to start conception, you start digging around, seeing
Yeah.
how the community connects with them, or
Mhm.
just right around the time that you get pregnant. I believe is the best time.
Mhm. And so in this journey that you have with them, um, what are key things? Because there might be someone who's watching. Oh, and to all of those who are watching replays, thank you so much. Um, those who are watching who may not know that they can use the services of a doula. And one thing that you were talking about was emotional wellness. That was a key point that really stuck with me as well. So for that person who is going through this process, what would be like a telltale for them to say, you know what, I need this.
It all depends on what they're looking for. But as far as emotional wellness, I believe it's something that is intuitively in you, right?
Mhm.
Say you had another pregnancy and it didn't go so well, or you had a labor that didn't go so well, or you had past generational traumas that have carried over into who you are now. That's a perfect reason as why you may need emotional guidance or you may need that extra support, because mama, cousin, sister, auntie may give you advice, but it might not be the advice that you're necessarily looking for and
Mhm.
or you don't agree with, right?
Mhm.
So making sure that you have that those things processed, and if you don't, that might be a telltale sign that you need somebody there to support you. But you
Mhm.
know what? I'm going to be honest. There is no telltale sign. I believe all women deserve support, no matter what. We all deserve support, because
Mhm.
even though we are bringing a life into the world, we're also losing a part of ourselves. We're losing that person that was 20 years ago. We are now shaping into someone
Mhm.
totally different. And that in itself is a whole nother manifestation. That's a whole nother entity that now I have to deal with, because I'm not just Natasha anymore. I'm a mom. Now has to teach this child how to do this, this, and this. How am I going to do that in the same mindset that I was in 8, 10, 12 months ago? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
changes. So I would say yes, okay, generational trauma for the emotional support and emotional wellness.
Mhm.
But when it comes to moms being supported in birth, I don't believe there's a cap. I don't believe there's anything that breaks them from the norm. I believe everybody should be supported.
Mhm.
Everybody.
Mhm.
Um, it's funny because in America, we don't give the same support as they do, say, even over in Africa, of course, right? They nourish mom, they rub them down with oils, they make sure that they're well taken care of, they wash their hair, they wash
Mhm.
baby, they feed them bone broth, they make sure that they have all the herbs and supplements that they need. They don't have to get up, they don't have to do any of that.
Mhm.
But we in America think that we don't have those resources. We do. We have
Mhm.
them. It's called community and it's called support. And a lot of us Black doulas, we're out here. We're doing the work. We're making the work be done
Mhm.
for our younger generation so they can follow in our footsteps. A lot of us do pro bono work. So if we feel like a mom is reaching out to us and she really needs support, we may do sliding scale, or we may just say, hey, you know what? I'll take you on because I feel like you really need support. Nobody deserves on their own. I do 2 pro bonos a year. I have 2 babies of my own. I only do 2 births a month anyway. So I do two pro bonos a year for low income families and mothers of color and single mothers. So
That's
I
incredible.
need
That's
support.
incredible. I think another thing that I love about what Shop Bob is building into is really putting a highlight on resources that we didn't know
Mm,
existed. And so knowing that there is support for those who need help and needs that, just that, it's just so different when you know there's someone there. When
right.
you know there's someone there, it's almost like strength within itself. Something else I wanted to go back for that you initially came in was postpartum depression, and um, within that, how what is the best resources for a mom who is now experiencing that after birth. If they didn't know to get a doula beforehand, now that they have went through the process of bringing life in, and now that disconnection that you said came in, what is the best practices for them, or what the resources that they have to help?
Honestly, it's you can go to your doctor. I'm not going to say that doctors aren't well, right? Or
Hmm.
aren't sometimes they're good for us, right? Sometimes we
Hmm.
need to guide us in the direction we need to go. I went to a therapist first. So what I did was I went to a therapist. I talked to my provider and I said, "Hey, this is what I'm feeling. It's becoming very, very overwhelming. I really, really need support. How can I get support?" And I had a doula. I had a postpartum doula. She gave me all the resources that she had, which
Hmm.
helped a lot. But I
Right.
wanted to make sure I was covering all my bases. You know, I wanted to make sure that I had my doctor's support behind me or a therapist support behind me. And so one of the things that we can do is provide mom with outside resources. There's a company that I work for. It's a 501(c). It's called Open
Hmm.
Arms Perinatal Services in Seattle. And they have what they call family support services, where they're connected with midwives who are on call. They're connected with therapists. They're connected with mental health counselors. They're connected with everyone in the community that you can think of
Hmm.
to support mom. So it's not just labor and delivery. We support well beyond there. And all doulas do. This is just what we do. It's how we are made, right? It's ingrained in us. This is who we were called to be, is to become emotional wellness support, but also just a resource for the community. So I would first reach out and say, "Hey, I'm going to ask my doctor first, because the state will help you if you need that type of support." But the first step is asking and being courageous enough to say, something is not right. I need help. And
Hmm.
us Black women, we often say, "I don't need help. I my mama did it, my grandma did it, my cousin did it. No, they didn't need no help." But you're not them. You are your own individual person. And if you feel like you need help, get out there and get it. When I had my breakdown, it wasn't just about myself. It was, I have to actually look at what I'm doing to my children, right?
Hmm.
How this is impacting them. Even though my daughter was only very small at the time, I literally was like, wait, how is this pouring into her?
Right.
How's all this negativity going to affect her? Because I'm gonna tell
Hmm.
you honestly, my whole pregnancy, I was a little upset. My whole pregnancy, not because I was pregnant, I was just angry. My whole pregnancy, and she came out a little bit angry, and so for telltale signs that I had to look out for, and other people were telling me about too. They were like, "Natasha, it seems like you're a little bit standoffish, or you're a little bit more." Uh, Angry outbursts, maybe even throwing a few things. It seems like you're just not quite yourself. Listen to those telltale signs, from other people that you may not see yourself.
Hmm.
And they can tell you those things, and you can also write them down and bring them to your provider, and therefore they can give you the resources to the right person. Say if I want to go to a physical therapist or a mental health therapist, what exactly do you need, right? If you write this down, you say these are my triggers or these are my symptoms, then they can send you to the right person, a naturopath or whatever, if that
Hmm.
makes sense to anybody. But
No,
yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely makes sense. It's, for anyone, it's hard for us to accept that we might not be perceived in the way that we want to be perceived. It's hard to take it like, you're not really nice lately. What do you mean I'm not nice? This is all, we don't see it sometimes, how it's perceived.
Right.
And I think that's a whole nother level of us trying to be strong all the time, that we also don't want to be seemed, broken
Right. Or we,
or viewed. Right,
right. Because
right,
woman is
right.
put in the light of, we got to be strong. We've always been that. There's nothing wrong with you, so to speak. If so and so
Mhm.
can do it, then you can do it, right?
Right.
Also goes back to surrounding yourself with a tribe full of people who are there for you,
Yes.
who are supporting you in a positive light, letting go of all those negative people who are holding on to you, holding you back, and
Mhm.
moving forward with people who are really there for you, that you
Mhm.
can take that positive criticism from. I
Mhm.
have a member I love to death, but I'm very honest with them. And they're like, they come to me because they trust me
Yes.
I'm giving to them, and vice versa. I have people in my area, in my tribe, in my close friends that I come to or go to, and I'm like, hey, I really need some advice. And
Mm-hmm.
I welcome their advice. And they're not family. You know what I mean? They're not judging. They are how can I say it? It's kind of like, not just them as my peeps, but that is my comfort circle. That's my safety, right? So surrounding yourself with people who make you feel safe, encouraged, and loved is also a really good way to potentially accept those things when people say, you're not yourself. Versus maybe if my mom said it, I might be a little pissed off. I'm gonna be honest. I'll be like, what do you mean I'm not myself? You don't know
Yes.
me like, what I mean? So it's kind of like, but I'm gonna take from the few people who I've surrounded myself with, who I know are there to support me and love me and give me honest feedback, in a loving way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So for those who might be interested in contacting you, I know that you are in Seattle.
Mm.
So for those who are interested in contacting you, how would they go about doing that?
So I have a website. I have two. So my first website is birthmarksrenewed.com, and that's located in Seattle, but I give virtual support as well. And that virtual support may not seem what everybody thinks it looks like, right? So I have given virtual support to like 6 moms, and it has been via their phone, Zoom, Google
Mm-hmm.
Duo. I'm there through the whole process of them and their contractions when the nurse isn't there, giving them all the steps that they need, giving them the different positions that they need. Hey, let's move in this position. They move the phone, their partner may move the phone. So I do virtual support through that, through Birthmarks Renewed. And I also do virtual herbal consultations for moms, single people, and
Uh-huh.
couples who are
Mm-hmm.
trying to conceive. And I do
Mm-hmm.
that on VRenewedYoniHealth.com.
Yes, and I wanted to get into VRenewed Yoni Health as well because as much as we're talking about, those who have the blessings of giving life, there are some things that we could do as women to really get right.
Right.
Whoop, I dropped my phone. Get right and really be well inside and out on that aspect as well. And I think even when the word yoni comes up, people get a little nervous, they a little scared, they don't want to talk about it. But guess
Yep,
what? We're gonna talk about it. So
that's
what
right.
is some of the practices that we should be doing in order to keep our bodies healthy?
First and foremost, what you eat. Okay, it's very, very important what you eat. And people don't like the word yoni, but they also don't like it's who you have. Okay, so it's who you sleeping with too. And you have to match their energy. They have to be on the same wavelength as you. They also need to have their hygiene. Okay. They have to have their hygiene intact. It's not just STDs, it's hygiene. It's what they eat. If they smoke, all that stuff, right? We need to be doing pelvic floor exercises. We need to be doing womb care. And that womb care can look like anything from massages, but it can also look like drinking a herbal tea every single day, like red raspberry leaf, right? Or a mugwort wash, right? So we want to make sure that we're using these herbs that are given to us as well. Um, Pelvic floor, I love yoni eggs. People are like, what is that? Well, yoni egg is I had it over here. It's way over there. I won't disrupt, my kids are over there. But it's an egg, and it's usually made out of a gemstone,
Mm-hmm.
and you insert it into your vagina
Mm-hmm.
and use that as a Kegel exercise.
Mm.
And if they're out there, people probably seen them. They probably don't know what they are. They come in various they come big, and those are usually for moms who have just given birth. And we
Mhm,
want to tighten back that pelvic floor. And then they go
mhm,
medium, and then they go a little bit smaller. Now some people out here talking about, well, I can hold the small. Okay, if you can walk around all day with that and hold it, then it's okay. But
challenge.
okay, other than that, you might want to stick to the medium until you can walk around all day with it without it flipping and flopping and falling out in the toilet. I've heard those stories. I cracked my egg and fell out in the toilet. So you know, I'm very my clients because I 100 with them.
Yes.
I may seem like I'm just one of those people who are, no, it's not, baby. No, it's not. Okay, here. There you go. I unplugged it. My son was like, it's here. Um, but like I said, pelvic floor, womb care as far as taking our teas. And one big thing I like to talk about is not just what we eat, but what we put inside of our body when we're on our menses, when we're on our cycle, the type of products that we're using. And
Mm-hmm.
the convenience of tampons is great. But now we have these other options out there. We have Diva cups, which are made
Mm-hmm.
from silicone, and they're
Mm-hmm.
easily inserted, and they
Mm-hmm.
can be used primarily all day long, unless you have a
Mm-hmm.
heavy flow, then you might change it a couple times.
Right.
But tampons have a lot of chemicals in them that our body not process, and
Mm-hmm.
the womb holds on to, and
Mm-hmm.
it a lot of things beyond endometriosis, but like cancers. You know what I mean? And Bartholin gland cyst, which a lot of people don't know what that is, but they're the pockets on the side of the vagina that secrete our fluid, and they can get infected, and they can swell up, they can become cysts, and they can become real bad, and you'll have to have a surgery. And that can come from a partner. That can also come from the products that you use.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I had to learn my lesson. I started my menses when I was very young, 9 years old. So, I'm like, what? How am I supposed to be doing this at 9 years old? So I didn't know any better. So I was out there using tampons because it was more convenient. Pads are seemed as messy or whatnot. But then as I got older and my womb started to have issues, then I
Mm-hmm.
started to realize what they were telling me to use was not something that I should be doing anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I should not be using a tampon that's filled with chemicals. So now
Mm-hmm.
I tell all my clients, hey, I use this brand, this brand, and this brand. These are my favorite ones. My favorite one right now is Cora. I love Cora
Mm-hmm.
brand because it
Okay.
gives back to the community. It gives back to, and it's Black owned. And I
Mm-hmm.
love and another thing that we need to be doing is being aware of our cycles for womb care.
Mm-hmm.
That's more important too. Being aware of how our cycles flow can give us a lot of telltale signs of how we are doing health wise. So
Yes.
we have a cycle that we think is normal 7 to 10 days, but
Mm-hmm.
it's super heavy for all those 7 to 10 days. And
Mm-hmm.
back pain, and we have numbness down the legs, and we have headaches and all that stuff. That may indicate not just your progesterone and estrogen fluctuating, but that also could mean that you have other hormone levels that are going on, or other,
Mm-hmm.
like a fibroid or endometriosis. And now I see that something has changed, so I need to check on that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
maybe go see my doctor. So all those things, I believe, are taking care of your womb, right?
Mm-hmm. And so important for us to take care of our womb. It's so important. I think that's a lot of times we really don't have these conversations about, like I said, about what we need to do in order to stay healthy.
Mm.
And it's almost like taboo, like we're not allowed to speak on things that is actually helping us the most.
Right.
Never understood that. So for those who are interested, especially in the Seattle area, who for the VRenewed, how do they find you for that?
So I have an Instagram. I have three. But I have two for my business. Birthmarks Renewed is just my doula support services Instagram page. And then I also have VRenewed.Yoni on Instagram. I post there every now and again, but you can always inbox me.
Mm-hmm.
I like to take questions as they come. I don't
Okay.
like to give what I call
Mm-hmm.
blanket information because
Mm-hmm.
it's different. So
Yes.
my Yoni here, I may sell a few, but I usually curate everyone or every steam for each person when they come. I always
Mm-hmm.
ask them how they're feeling, how is their week, how are their
Mm-hmm.
emotions, and then I have herbs here that set them up for the best success moving on into the next few weeks before their next menstrual cycle. So
Love it.
Yoni and birthmarksrenewed.com and birthmarks renewed on Instagram are how you can get a hold of me.
Love it. And you have some program. You have something that's starting on the 1st of March, I believe.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yes. So let me pull that up so I can read it the right way.
Sure.
I had closed my computer down, but I have it in my little where is it? There it is. Okay, so for online doula support, I have for the month of March, so
Mhm.
that it's March 1st to March 31st. It's $1,200 to $1,500. I do take payments. I do a
Mhm.
payment plan
Mhm.
extending to 3 months after birth.
Mhm.
That includes our postpartum virtual support visits. That also includes a baby blanket, a few other trinkets. I send nice things to mom to help make her feel like a mom still, even though baby, yeah, that's baby, but we want to take care of mom too. So I send a lot of nice things to mom with that package. And then I also have my herbal health support via online for singles and couples. That's 6 sessions for 360 and or 525 for couples. And then I also have my emotional wellness support. That's 8 sessions. I don't do any less than 8 sessions because
Okay.
it's important work. That's
Mhm.
40 minutes. It's online. That's 450 or 700 for couples. And that emotional wellness, we go through online courses, we go through steps, we go through journaling, and we touch base on that. And then in about 6 months, you guys look out. I'll have a class also called Imprints to Impacts, and working on getting that done so I can have a virtual online class for people to go through and
I
work.
love it. I love that. Love that. Okay, so for all of you who are watching, especially our replay watchers, thank you so much. Make sure you go ahead and you follow VRenewed.Yoni on Instagram as we have here. You could also click the top as well, and a drop down will happen, and you could go ahead and follow directly from this live. Thank you so much for really opening up, especially my eyes on the differences between a doula and a midwife, and really understanding the need for emotional assistance, the need for support in regards to the planning of conception all the way to post, which is incredible. I had no idea that these kind of services were out there. And for anyone, whether with a partner or not, the support is always needed. Always. It does not hurt to have support, especially in situations like this. Especially in situations like this. So thank you again, Natasha Blanchard.
Take that.
But I appreciate you so much, and we will definitely be in contact because there's some things that Shop Bob is doing, and I'm really excited to know more and see how we can do more things in order to help awareness, and of course to help build VRenewed.
Yes.
Yoni. Thank
Thank
you. Yeah.
you for having me. Thank you guys for tuning in. I wish you well. Thank you so much.
Hey, it's Janelle Simone, and I am looking for Bobs. That's right. So if you are a Bob, I want to know more about you. I want to know the why behind your business. Yes, I want to interview you on our next Shop Bob Live. So if you are a Bob and you want to join us as a guest, go to shopbob.com. Or if you just want to know what else that we're building, because we're definitely growing, then check us out at shopbob.com.